Guys, welcome back to the video. In today's video, I'll be telling you about how I got my first $100. Now, I'm pretty sure by seeing this in the thumbnail, you might have thought, ye kaun sa scam hai? But trust me, this is going to be a very honest video, and this was just for the thumbnail. Screw that. So today, I'll be telling you about the project that I did for which I got paid. What was the work? How did I go about it? Kya skills मैंने सीखे before I took up that work? And also, I'll be telling you why I left doing graphic designing. Why did I leave doing the work for which I was getting paid initially? First of all, $100 is not a lot in real life. But the first $100 that you earn is very special. You'll feel really good about it, right? It's like getting your first salary. It's like really close to your heart. So even if it's not a lot of money, there's a lot of work that goes into play before you get your first rupee or your first dollar. Back in 2018, I think 3 years back, now I'm very old. At that time, I was kind of young. I was done with my 12th grade board exams. I was done with JEE mains. I was done with BITSAT. I was done with SAT. सब हो चुका था. Summer vacations चल रहे थे. And I thought कि I'm just sitting at home, कुछ कर लेते हैं. So I went to a digital marketing school, not a digital marketing school, a digital marketing coaching place. He taught us very basic Photoshop, like how do you mess up with the layers, how do you size it, how do you put background colors, super basic things. But Photoshop was a really cool tool, and trust me, if you know Photoshop, everyone should know Photoshop. I'm not the best at Photoshop, but I'm trying to learn it every single day, and even you guys can try out Photoshop. Even PewDiePie has a Photoshop tutorial, so do check that out. But it's a very good skill to have. बहुत basic सा आता था, ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं, बस layers आते थे, but I had the software installed in the first place. Now, I was just talking to one of my relatives, and he told me that he used to design book covers for some authors in the US. So, जब भी an author writes a book, they need a book cover, right? And mostly only graphic designers can design that cover. For example, if you have read Sapiens, then Sapiens has a book cover. So these book covers are not designed by the authors. These are designed by some graphic designers, professional graphic designers. And it's not an easy job. You need to take care of the layout, बहुत सारे dimensions. थोड़ा सा भी mess up हो गया तो printing में problem हो जाएगा. You'll have to make sure कि author का नाम सही जगह पे है. All those folds are at the right place. बहुत सारे specifications का ध्यान रखना पड़ता है. तो it's not an easy job. So my relative was talking to me and he was like, he's getting a lot of orders, but he's not able to handle it because he has a daytime job. So उसने बोला कि can you do some of that work? So I was like, yeah, sure. So I took one of his client and I did not know who the person was, no clue. It was some lady sitting in Los Angeles, and I emailed saying, hey, I know a bit of Photoshop. I know you're writing a book. I can, make the book cover for you. So she sent out a couple of cues about how the book should look like, and I had to make a book cover where there was the galaxy displayed and there was like a planet which was getting captured by aliens. So that was my project. Now I had to get creative, so I went to these stock images. I picked up some images, put it on Photoshop. I had to learn Photoshop from scratch because इसके पहले मेरे पास बस software था. उसके अलावा I didn't know anything about Photoshop. So after I got the project, I started learning, and बहुत पहला जो version मैंने send किया था उनको, she hated it. She was like, this is terrible. I need a lot of changes. And that's when I realized that it's not an easy job. बहुत सारे बार ऐसे होता है कि आप कुछ भेजते हो and then they'll be like, oh, it's bad, do it again. And then it's a very annoying task. But still, I was persistent. And overall, I think we exchanged around 100 emails. 100 emails. That was the amount of effort that was put in. You have to be super patient. So I sent some copies. She was like, make these changes, made those changes, send it back, another 10 changes, and kept going back and forth until finally we had a product. The final book cover looked like this. It seems very easy to do, but it wasn't, because dimensions is the major part when you're making book covers. It's quite hard to get the dimensions right. And this is something that I made from scratch. पूरा scratch से बनाया था. It's a merger of two images. Getting the alignment right, getting things on the same path थोड़ा मुश्किल है. To get to this point, I had to go through at least 25 different iterations. So ऐसे 25 बार ऐसे अलग अलग covers बना के भेजने पड़े थे for me to get it right. Not easy, kind of pissing off. But it was an amazing experience. Now, this might seem like a good book cover, but later I realized that it wasn't. There were a couple of mistakes, and while she printed the book, वो जो book cover का आधा एक छोटा सा part side में, it got cut. So I set the dimensions wrong. They weren't the perfect dimensions. But yeah, ultimately, it was a decent cover. I'm not very happy with my work. It wasn't the best version, but yeah, it was my first project. messed it up a little bit, but was good enough. I got paid $200 for this, which was incredible. When I look at my emails right now, kitne cringy the. I misspelled a lot of things. I didn't know how to write emails. I was like, hi, this is it. I didn't know where to put full stops. Had a lot of grammatical issues. So yeah, write good emails. That's a very good skill to have. Now I've improved in the way that I write my emails. So once I was done with this project, another author reached out to me, and I made a book cover for him as well. That was quite an easier task. The Pehla Wala project, it was tough, but I learned a lot of lessons. I had a framework in place, so doing it for the second time was much easier. 3 major lessons. A is network with people. If I was not shameless enough to ask my relative for the project, then I wouldn't have got it. So be shameless, ask your friends and family, ask random strangers for projects, it's totally fine. Network with people, जितने लोगों से बात कर सकते हो बात करो, it's totally fine. Be shameless. Second, it's okay to learn, but you should be curious enough to Google up and learn stuff. So just be super determined and try to learn the skill. Don't be like, hey, I've given up. The project was really hard. It was like one of the most complicated graphic design projects I've seen. So I could have given up on the day one saying, hey, I don't know this. मैंने कभी Photoshop चलाया नहीं है, but I somehow learned it. And third is be patient. A lot of these freelancing gigs can take a toll on your brain. एक महीना लगा था, 100 emails were exchanged. So you need a lot of patience. It's not as easy as possible. Plus doing it with college, it's even tougher because you have to go for classes and बहुत सारे clashes होते हैं. These were the 3 lessons. Now finally, you might be asking, this was quite profitable, $200 for a book cover, and you could have done like say 10 book covers and gotten like $2,000. Why don't you do that? Here's the reason, right? Photoshop is great. I'm not the best at it, but it's a good skill to have. But when I look at myself 10 years from now, that's not the thing I want to do. मुझे बहुत कुछ explore करना था, right? बस Photoshop करके I would have been in this. They say, right, there's this frog in the well which doesn't know what's happening outside. I would have been that person. मुझे मालूम नहीं पड़ता कि और कौन से fields है and what else should I explore. I was just 18 back then. I could have explored a lot of other things, and I was young, I had time, so I stopped doing it, and I moved on to WordPress and making websites, and then I started learning to code and doing things like that because that was way more fun. And I think that gave me a lot of more exposure versus me just freelancing and making graphic design covers. So yeah, that was the reason why I left. It's your call. I'm not saying that even you should be exploring everything. If something is helping you make money and if it's something that's enjoyable and if you think it has a lot of future prospects, then you can continue. But in my case, I just was very restless. मैं एक चीज बहुत देर के लिए नहीं कर पाता हूँ, तो I just want to try out as many things as possible. That's the reason I left it. Also, if you're asking questions about how do you get your client, what's the process, how do you prospect, things like that, then I've made tons of videos about it. So do check out my playlist about freelancing. That will have all the resources required for you to get started and hopefully earn a living out of freelancing. Even if it's not earning a living, it's a great source of side income. So whatever you do, even if you're doing a full-time job, having some sort of side income which backs you up financially is super important, right? Because always having multiple streams of income is ideal, so that even if you lose your job or even if you lose your main source of income, there's something else that supports you financially. I hope you got some insights out of this video, and if you did, then do mind subscribing and also join our Discord community. Super cool people, super smart people, and you'll love the events that we organize. Take care. Bye.